Hello everyone. Before we start new video, please don't forget to like and subscribe by pressing the red subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to press the bell icon so that you are notified when I upload a new video. Chapter 4, Face to Face. It was 2:30 in the afternoon and I was on Airbus from Bhubaneswar to Delhi. First row, window seat. I just love getting window seats. With my official laptop on my lap, I wasn't working extra hours and making Infi proud of me. Rather, I was going through her pictures, which I had managed to download at the very last minute before leaving the airport. During the journey, I gave plenty of reasons to the air hostesses and my fellow passengers to think that there was something wrong with me, or to be precise, with my brain. When you see a guy talking to his laptop, at times looking outside the clouds, smiling, then looking at the screen again and smiling one more time, you can't be blamed for feeling that his top floor might be vacant. I remember the discomfort of the air hostess when she caught me smiling at my laptop while she was delivering the safety demo. She probably hated me because the demo was supposed to be in sync with the announcement by her colleague and she was lagging behind. But who asked her to focus on me? I didn't. On my computer screen, gazing at her picture, I found myself falling with the rising heights, falling in love with her. Couldn't resist saying, I love you. The madness added when the picture said it too. If you ask me why I was blushing and smiling, I had plenty of answers for that. Enjoying the candies served by the same air hostess, I was recalling how Khushi gave me a last night call as the minute hand just moved past 12 a.m. and we entered the first minute of the new day, that is today. You are going to come me today, she shouted. Oh boy, I'm going crazy, I also shouted, jumping in my balcony, steering the calm midnight. I guess I woke up some of my neighbors and disturbed some who were about to orgasm. A couple of street dogs came out of the darkness and started barking at me. I rushed back into my room when I saw the light turn on in a few flats in the building next to mine. Laughing at last night's event and still enjoying my candies, I recollected how confused I was that morning about what to wear. I pulled out everything from my closet that morning and tried it all in front of the mirror. I took almost an hour to decide and then changed again just before I left for the office. The funny thing is that I ended up wearing the only shirt which wasn't ironed along with dark denim. Everything I did that day, I made mess of. And while I recalled those moments, every now and then, weird thoughts would pop into my head. What if she isn't as beautiful as she appears in her pictures? What if she laughs in every weird way? What if she limps? And many other such thoughts played hide and seek in my mind until I finally asked myself the big question: do you love her, Ravin? Holy shit. Of course, I was too late to be asking this. Yes, I do. Of course, I do, I said to myself. Well, to be honest, I actually forced myself to say that. I don't know why I was little apprehensive. But good or bad, the truth was that Marrying her was my independent decision, one that I had arrived at without any kind of pressure from my family or from her. So, to silence those weird thoughts, I pulled out a newspaper from the small rack in front of my seat. But I could not concentrate on the newspaper either. There was a different kind of excitement in me which was sending up a chill inside me, shaking me a bit at times. I don't know what kind of fear it was. The nervousness and anxiety means I was going to lose every 20 minutes. I become a peeing machine. It happens to everyone, or doesn't it? And I was sure that the kid on the last seat was counting the number of times I passed by him. I pretended to ignore him when he started whispering in his mom's ear. Of course, he was telling her about me. I noticed his hand pointing at me, which his mom pulled back, smiling. Finally, at 5 in the evening, the plane landed at Delhi and I switched on my phones, completely ignoring the captain's command to not to do before instructed. While the plane was taking a U turn on a runway, I looked out the window to see if there was any girl waving towards my plane. It could be her. Now I wondered how could have seemed so silly as to expect visitors on the runway. I was trying to call her up, but for some reason my cell phone could not adapt itself to the roaming zone. I kept trying, cursing my phone and the network. I kept trying and kept failing. A few minutes later, I was standing at the baggage claim section waiting for my luggage to arrive, but my eyes were not on the conveyor belt. They were looking for something else, rather, someone else. Here and there, I was looking at a very girl and peering at the crowd standing outside, which was visible through the glass wall. Then I saw my red bag glinting towards me on the belt. But before it could reach me, she reached me on my phone. My cell was working now, and I heard the ring. Khushi calling, it said. I took her call. Hey, hey, silence. So, and I turned back, facing the exit. So, what so? I mean, where are you? She had never seemed so shy and silent. I could almost hear her blushing. Obviously, her state of mind was no different from mine. And how could it be? Two people who were madly in love with each other and had decided to marry each other were going to see each other for the very first time in their life. I am at the baggage section, I said. And with that, I noticed my bag going away from me. Damn, I missed it. What did you miss? My luggage. I started talking to you and I missed it. Oh, she paused while I kept my eyes on the conveyor belt. Then she spoke again. Can I ask you something? What? Are you nervous? How do you know? Because even I am, she confessed. Then she said, Okay, tell me, what are you wearing today? Olive green shirt and dark blue jeans. You? Oh my god, what happened? I thought she didn't like the color I was wearing. It looks good on me. No, no, it's not about good or bad. Then I am also wearing olive green and blue jeans. Coincidences seemed always to be following us. Our birthplace, the month, the year, our interest in music, our career, IMS, and now the clothes we were wearing that day. Amazing. We are definitely made for each other. Hey, my luggage is coming to me again. I am going to pick it up and come outside in 2 minutes. See ya. I made my way through the broken queue to get my bag and loading it on a trolley. I walked towards the exit. The laptop was still hanging on my shoulder. Finally, about to see her, I was anxious, shivering, and my heart was beating fast. Every feminine voice from that crowd seemed to be hers. Of course, I was trying to behave as if I was relaxed and cool. Relax, 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 and take a deep breath, I told myself. And the next thing I know, I was already outside. There were a lot of people in front of me waiting for their dear ones. Some cab drivers holding up nameplates for their bosses. There was a lot of shouting and noise from the traffic. Then, for some reason, I stopped moving forward and turned left. And there she was, my angel, my beautiful one. Her smile, which tried to override my senses. That chilling hesitation in her and in me. Her long, untied hair that fell upon her eyes with a gust of wind. Her hand moving across her face and moving her hair behind her left ear. Her left ear and the glittering silver earrings she was wearing. Her beautiful face, which mesmerized me, and in that green off shoulder top and jeans, her body appeared so perfect, so young, so poised. She was charismatic. I wasn't able to take my eyes off her. Rather, I wanted to stare at her from top to bottom, very slowly, which I actually did. This is her, I told to myself. She is mine. That was a wonderful moment which I have relived again and again, recalling that first sight. I moved towards her with a smile, almost almost forgetting my trolley. And in a very few seconds, there I was right in front of her, a foot apart, still not able to take my gaze off her. Hey, I said, offering my right hand for a shake. Hi, she responded politely and in such a elegant way, touching me for the first time with that handshake. Did you hear what I said? The first time we touched. It was magical. And her eyes, so beautiful. There was something special in them, something which I didn't let me look away. I wanted to hear what they were telling me. The feeling, the truth of the moment, the I don't know what was it. I looked and my eyes were stuck on you. I tried to move the black in them, but they were stuck like glue. Looking at you for real, I noticed your eyes. That's exactly where your entire beauty lies. So genuine, so honest, so beautiful, so deep, with a glint of light, some naughtiness, deep creep. Finding my dream coming true. I pleaded my shivering lips to bring out the words I had kept for you. There were so many things to say. I can remember none of them at all. But I don't lose with that. I do things my own way. And this is my sister Neeru, and he is Girish, her best and only friend. She broke my gaze and thoughts to introduce me to two other peoples. I wondered how I didn't notice them standing behind us. Was I so lost in her? Undoubt- Undoubtedly, I was. I said hello to both of them, cracking some jokes to ease the sweet pressure which Khushi and I were feeling. Then we moved out to the exit channel towards the parking lot in search of the cab these guys had come to the airport in. Khushi was too shy to walk with me, and she's joined Niru and Girish in looking for the cab. I followed at a distance with my trolley. My condition was no different from her. I wrote her a very short SMS, then, "You are damn hot." The next moment, I saw her coming towards me from the other side to the exit, looking at something on her cell phone, probably reading my SMS. When she reached me, she smiled. "Thanks," she said. "I love this. Whatever is happening, the excitement, the anxiety, and seeing you," I said. And in her shyness, she turned away, her hair falling across her eyes again. Her complete attention was upon me, yet she was trying to escape my gaze. "Hey, am I making sense? Or am being stupid?" I asked. She laughed and turned back to me. She had lot of teeth. "No, you are making sense, actually. It's the same with me," she said, smiling. Soon, Niru and Girish appeared, pointing at the cab which was coming towards us. It became clear that I was expected to step into the cab first, and because of this, I panicked. Where should I sit? I asked myself. In the back with her? But will it look good if I sit between the two sisters, pushing Girish to the front? Should I sit in front then? Or should I sit in the back, but on the left with the Girish in the middle and Khushi at the right, and her sister with the driver? No, no. What a mess. So many permutations and combinations to be solved in a second. It was beyond the abilities of my brain. Better sit up front, I thought. It was the easiest solution. And in haste and alarm, I got in beside the driver. "You fool! What is she going to think of you? Why didn't you sit behind beside her?" My not so talented brain shouted at me the very next second. Damn, I was screwing up things with my stupidity. I was sitting apart from my own girlfriend. Barely a minute later, I got a call on my cell. Mom calling. Shit. She asked me to call her the moment I landed in Delhi. I forgot, I murmured as I took the call. Hanji Mama, I just came out of the airport, I said before she asked me anything. "I knew you will forgot. Now tell me," she said. "Tell me what?" I asked, though I knew she probably had 100 questions for me about Khushi, which I couldn't answer because I was, I was with them in the cab. But she didn't ask me all those questions, just one, which summarized all of them. "So, are you happy?" Oh, mom, I am very happy, I replied quietly, looking outside the window. Good. I just wanted to know that. I know you won't want to talk to me at this moment, so you guys enjoy and we will talk later. Alright? हाँ जी मम्मा ठीक है. I will call you later. Bye. We were now on our way to hotel, which I was to move into for slightly more than one day before I left for US. I had no idea where this hotel was, nor did the cab driver. Khushi and Girish said they did, but both were pointing in opposite directions. In other words, no one had a clue. But we moved ahead, thinking we had soon ask somebody about the precise location. What an evening that was! I was sitting beside the driver, and behind me was my sweetheart, with Niru in the middle and Girish on her left. The song selection on the radio seemed to be exceptionally good that day. Romantic songs that Khushi and I could relate to. And we sat listening to them without saying anything, but smiling within. These moments of silence only added to the beauty of the songs. I tried to see her in the rear view mirror, but every time I had only find Girish funny face and he would raise his eyebrow mocking me. Soon, however, our formal gave soon, however, our formal demeanor gave way to a more casual one, and we started talking about each other, at times pulling each other's leg, recalling some stupid incidents out of the blue and spicing them up as we narrated them. Khushi became an easy target for both Niru and Girish, and they mimicked her embarrassment that day before seeing me. We were shouting and partying in the cab with the patties and pastries they had brought. ये लो लड़की वालों की तरफ से, Girish said, offering me the box of pastries. We were in a jolly mood, and adding to the delight, it started drizzling outside. Shouting, laughing, going crazy to those peppy numbers, we were having a gala time in the cab. On the few occasions, secretly, she pinched me from beside, and I just loved that. For more than an hour and a half, we hunted for my hotel on the streets of Delhi. And more than anybody, even me, Khushi was concerned about this. According to her, I was tired from my journey and needed some rest. But I wondered why I didn't feel that way. It was around 7:30 in evening when we finally reached the Kutub Hotel in the vicinity of the Qutub Minar, thanks to uh, chaiwalas and panwalas. We all entered in the hotel, and the reception I checked out my booking. Room number 301. That way, sir. The boy will bring your luggage in, said a man with a huge moustache and a reception counter. All right, I said, and we will headed towards 301, everyone following me. Niru and Girish were talking to each other in whispers when Khushi said something to me very politely. Can you walk a little slower? You have left me behind. And I realized why people say that girls are far more mature than guys. I was full. Earlier, leaving her on the back seat of the cab and taking the front one. And here again, I was walking alone, leaving her behind. I started panicking, not knowing how to handle such situations. I was a boyfriend for her first time, a fresher in the school of romance. God, please help me, I muttered and decelerated. She came closer to me and said, now you are not alone. You have a girl in your life. So walk beside her. Behind us, Niru and Girish smiled naughtily. Won't they leave us alone for a while? I thought. But how could they hear my thoughts? They keep following us. We were at 301. I opened the door to my room and we all went in. The room was well lit. A small table with a telephone and a flower vase separating the two beds. Nice bed sheets. There were a, there was a telephone dictionary and a menu beside the TV set across from the beds. A giant mirror on the wall in front of us which reflected the entire room, including those two beds and cupboard near the entrance. Beside the mirror, there was a door to washroom. Hmm, this is good, I announced. Yeah, yep, the people surrounding me murmured. Then Girish started his survey of the room, analyzing everything and telling me the good and the bad. Thanks, Girish, I said, when he had finished. Any time, he acknowledged. After which I wanted to ask him just one more question. So, when are you going to leave us alone? For heaven's sake. Instead, I just kept mum, hoping my eyes would do the talking. And Niru finally understood that they should better leave us alone for a while. She whispered to Girish, and I don't know what was making the three of them looking at each other and smile. I hoped they were not joking about me. We were going to a nearby place to have something. If you guys want, we can get something for you, Girish said, moving towards the door with Niru. No, I'm stuffed, I said. Wow, I thought. Girish, if we need something, I will call you up. And take care of Niru. Don't leave her alone, alright? Khushi said, opening the Bisleri bottle placed on the table. Yes, I will. You don't worry. By the way, it's 8:30 now. We should leave Delhi by 9 so that we can reach Faridabad by about 10:15. We are already late, you know na? Yeah, but don't worry, we will manage, said Khushi. All right, see ya. And finally, they left the room and I took a deep breath to relax. I went and locked the door while Khushi took a last sip of water from the bottle. She noticed me doing that and smiled. Then she kept the bottle on the table and my laptop bag on the chair. I stepped between the two beds and sat on the left one. She came in and sat on the right one, just in front of me. We were together, just the two of us. Our smiles described our mood. That moment seemed to be a beautiful dream. We wanted to feel and live that moment forever. The person with whom I was going to spend the rest of my life was right in front of me. I could look into her beautiful eyes. I could touch her, feel her. The delight of the moment had both of us spellbound. Words were unnecessary. I stared at her for a long time, and when she could not handle my gaze, She looked at the ground, her neck tilting down, her neck tilting down, and strands of her beautiful hair falling in front of her shoulder, covering her right cheek and ear. And the silence in the room persisted, and there we were, madly in love, still not believing that finally, when we had seen each other, still nervous, still wondering what to say. Gathering her courage, she looked up into my eyes, which were still focused on her, and moving her hair behind her ear again, she asked, सफर में कोई तकलीफ तो नहीं हुई? Coming as it did, after more than 5 minutes of silence, that question sounded hilarious. It reminded us both of the old Bollywood movies in which the heroine would ask her beloved, सुनिए जी, आपके सफ़र में, and all that. Before she could see my reaction, she understood what a stupid and stereotypical question it was, and we looked at each other and laughed, falling upon our respective beds. But that question also became an icebreaker, and we both relaxed. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I mean, नहीं कोई तकलीफ तो नहीं हुई, I said, getting up. I'm so stupid, she said, slapping her forehead. Nah, you are not. You are beautiful, I said calmly, looking into her eyes. I don't know what gave me the courage to raise my right hand towards her to reach her face. My fingers first touched her cheek, the middle finger first, and the first finger, and all of them, helping her hand, helping her hair behind her ear. That human touch was incredible. Feeling my fingers on her face, she closed her eyes, and I felt her breathing heavily now. I watched her good looking face, the lines on her forehead appearing and vanishing, her curved eyelashes, her cute nose, her soft lips, which I very gently rubbed my thumb on, and she started shaking, her eyes still closed and her hands gripping the bed sheet very tight. My eyes were the silent observers to these moments we both were in. My mind was hypnotized, and fingers were still trying to understand the beautiful face before me. Occasionally, I felt her warm breath breaking on my cold fingers. My consciousness asked me whether what was happening was real, and then it answered itself. I was not dreaming. She was real. She was with me. Deep inside, I felt so satisfied, so blessed, that the moment when my angel was in front of me had finally arrived. We were lost, lost in each other. Shoni Muni, I whispered in her ears, silently, getting close to her, very close. She was still breathing heavily and couldn't say anything. This is wonderful moment. I can't believe this. You are with me. I moved almost to her bed. Shona, she said and grabbed my hand. In a while, very slowly, she opened her eyes and looked at me and smiled. She was so happy, so delighted to have me so close to her, and she kept looking at me in that way for some time. Raising her eyebrows slightly and still smiling, she asked me, tell me, how are you feeling at this instant with me? I put my arms around her and beating her ear, I said, "Don't ask me. I won't be able to describe it. I just want to say one thing." Then I whispered in her ear, "I'm madly in love with you." With that, I rested my chin on her shoulder. "I love you too," she said, and moved her fingers all the way from my forearms to the wrist, then the palm, and finally into the spaces between my fingers. At that moment, I felt so complete. I realized how, just like me, she too wanted to live that moment as if it should never end. I held her in my arms for some time. From the romantic movies I had seen till then, I knew that holding your beloved in your arms that such way is a different feeling. But that it would be so magical, I never knew. To understand and believe certain things, you have to experience them. And love is one such thing. Hmm, actually, it's not a thing, it's a lot more than that. We were speechless again, just feeling each other. But who needed to talk? Silence was talking at its best. But threatening the silence, another thought crept into my heart all of a sudden. Should I kiss her? And with that, the battle between my heart and mind started. Heart, yes. Mind, no. Heart, why not? This is such a perfect moment. I think I should. Mind, what if she doesn't feel good about it? After all, this is just your first date. Heart, but will I get a moment like this again? Tomorrow, her entire family will be around us. No time then. And the next day, I have to take my flight. I should take a chance right now. Mind, chance? First, look into the mirror and ask yourself if you can do this in the first day itself. Heart, stop that nonsense. I'm going ahead. Mind, good luck. Heart, thanks. Mind, hey, wait a second. Heart, now what? Mind, are you comfortable? Maybe you want to use to loo first. It helps, you know. Heart, shut up. Now this happens to me most of the times. Sometimes I think I'm not too strong mentally, and that's why my heart always wins. But to be very honest, I just love that. I oxygenated my lungs with a deep breath and turned her almost 180 degrees. We now were facing each other. My arms were still around her. Her hands were on my shoulders. I looked into her eyes. I grabbed her, looked straight into her eyes. I told her, I do things and I do them in my own way. I was prepared to feel something for the very first time in my life, and I won't lie, my heartbeats at that moment were faster than scrumcheer in the Ferrari. I looked into her eyes and drew close. I grabbed her, looked straight into her eyes. With a wink, I drew her close. My lips moved, but this time not to say. I told her I do things and I do them in my own way. Yes, it was going to be my first ever kiss. But, but, how I hate to the word but fate had to intervene and Girish, playing devil, called her up on her sail. The ringtone shattered my utopia, and before I could reach her lips, she wanted to answer the call. And before she could answer the call, she looked at the clock. Oh my god, it's 9. 9, she said. No, she screamed and stretched to reach her cell phone. It's Girish, she said, pressing the answer button. While she was talking to Girish, I collapsed on the bed in a total dismay, wondering at Girish's sense of timing. How how could he be so perfect? I was fuming inside. All the while, she continued with that call. हाँ बोलो. Yeah, I know we have to leave. She turned her back to me and walked towards the door, which was locked from inside. No, we don't want anything to eat. She looked back at me and gestured with her other hand to ask me if I was hungry. Yes, Girish, just 5 minutes more, yaar. She clenched and unclenched her fist. Arey, I know, Baba. I said na, we will manage. And she looked at herself in the mirror. Now, will you please hang up? Please. She turned her back towards the mirror. Yeah, we will be there in 5 minutes, alright? Bye now. And she came to me, disconnecting the call. She was panicking all of a sudden. Shona, I have to leave. I am getting late. Mom must be about to call. Alright. Don't worry. You will be on time. Where are Niru and Girish? I tried to comfort her and, more importantly, to extinguish the fire that had just now been burning in me. At the reception, she answered. Okay, and I guess you guys will be going to by the same cab? I asked, getting up from the bed and taking a sip of water from the half filled bottle. Yes, by the same cab, she said, getting up and moving towards the mirror again. Then her cell phone rang again, and again it was Girish. I picked up the call this time. Hey, I guess you should hurry up. It had started raining again, he said. Though I hated him at that moment, I still said, yes, just a second, we are coming down. See you there. We were about to leave that room when she screamed one more time. Shit, I forgot this, she said, looking at the big plastic bags which Niru had left at the entrance to the room. She quickly picked them up and said, Shona, this is for you. What is this? Open it. I did what she asked. A blue striped shirt with a Park Avenue tag and two ties, one black with white stripes in the middle, the other steel colored. I was so pleased. A girl bought something for me. My Khushi bought something for me. And I suddenly recalled a couple of managers from my office whom I used to see at times in shop along with their wives, who were selecting shirts for them. I felt good, realizing all those things were happening to me now. New things, different things, and such a beautiful things. For me? I asked her. No, for that fat cab driver. She tried to tease me. Really? You had an affair with him too? I teased her back. Shut up, she responded with a smile, but her eyes wanted to fear her. Then she reminded me I have to rush now. It had started raining. Oh, yes, let's go, I said, dropping the box on the bed behind me and stepping out of the room. This time I made sure to walk beside her, and she acknowledged that with her mischievous smile. We were about to reach the reception when I couldn't control myself any more and asked her, "Why are you leaving, Kushi? Don't go, please." And my speech paused there, along with my feet. She stopped there as well and held my hand in hers and said, "Just a couple of months, and I won't have to leave you this way. I will be all yours." There was so much love in those words, as if from now on she was going to take care of me forever. "I know," I said. "Now, shall we go before Girish gives another call?" "Yes." Back at the reception, we met Niru and Girish again. They were trying to tease Kushi with their faces and expressions, but she was somehow managing everything with her simple smiles, digressing from what they wanted to hear. We all stood there for a few seconds before that they went to their cab, which was parked outside the hotel. It was drizzling. They got seated and the cab reversed. They were leaving, and my eyes were following the left window from which she was waving to me. I almost ran into the middle of the road to catch the last glimpse of her for that day. Then the cab took a right turn at the end of the street and she disappeared. But oh, I loved the light rain shower and looked up at the sky, thanking the heavenly firmament. That day did not end there, though. A few minutes later, I was in my room, busy performing my victory dance and singing the lines Pehla Nasha Pehla Kumar. Just like in the movie, I placed my left foot on the bed and jumped back on the ground to my right in a slow motion. The only difference being my landing was not successful and I broke the glass of water placed beside the TV. Shattered glass on the floor and silence. Standing alone in front of the mirror, I scolded my reflection. "See what you have done." The very next moment, my reflection smiled and murmured, "नया प्यार है, नया इंतजार." I was out of control, wondering how I could tell the world that I was the happiest man on the planet at that moment. The feelings within me were straining to come out, and I don't know whether I was failing to handle them or celebrating them in the best possible way. Finally, I grabbed myself again to give her a call and tell her, "You are damn beautiful. You are so perfect. I'm so lucky." I went on, and she heard all that with a smile. She was still in the cab, and I could hear giggling voices around her. All she said was, and vice versa. "I have so much to say, but just I can't. You know, na." We talked for a very short while, and then I ordered my dinner, which arrived in another 10 minutes. By 10:30, I had eaten, and the bell boy came to my room to collect the dinner plates and bowls. "How was the food, sir?" he asked. Did I really notice the taste? Forget the taste. Did I even know what dishes I had eaten? All I could think of was her face, the way it appeared when I pulled her in my arms, her eyes, and her fragrance, which still persisted in my breath. But I answered, "Oh, yes, it was good." He gathered the plates and left my room. By 11:30, I still could not sleep, though I was tired. I was hung over on something so different, for the first time. I was celebrating the spirit of being in love. Everything around me appeared beautiful because the only thing running through my mind was beautiful. She too was going through something similar. I learned when she called me at last, and we talked for a long time, candidly, confessing our fears, describing the thoughts flowing in our minds when we saw each other at the airport. When I sat on the front seat, leaving her behind. When I locked the door of my room from inside, once Niru and Girish had left. When I pulled her in my arms. Our happiness, the euphoria in which we still were. I don't remember when exactly we slept.